What the car industry doesn't want you to know is that the so-called electric car revolution might just be the biggest automotive con of our generation. I know, that sounds dramatic, right? But stick with me. Because what I've uncovered lately, it's not just unsettling, it's downright terrifying. And once you see the pieces come together, you'll never look at those shiny EV commercials the same way again. Let me set the stage. Picture this. You're sitting at a dealership, the smell of new leather in the air, salespeople circling like sharks. They're pushing the latest electric models, Tesla, Rivian, Lucid, telling you that you're saving the planet, that you're ahead of the curve, that you're part of something bigger. But what if I told you there's a darker truth behind all those promises? What if I told you that hybrids, the old school gas and electric mashups, are quietly winning a $50 billion war right under our noses while the electric car hype machine distracts us from what's really going on? By the way, if you're into these kinds of dark, automotive deep dives, you might want to stick around. I dig up stuff like this all the time. There's a lot the industry would rather you didn't know, and I'm here to pull back the curtain. Now, let's talk about this so-called war. On one side, you've got the electric car evangelists, big tech, big auto, and yeah, even the government pumping billions into EVs. On the other, you've got the hybrid crowd, quietly racking up sales, making profits, and most importantly, keeping their secrets close to the chest. And here's the kicker. While everyone's distracted by the latest Tesla drama or the next big EV recall, hybrids are quietly flooding the roads, outselling expectations, and making their makers rich. Doesn't that make you wonder what else they're hiding? But wait, it gets even darker. Because when you start digging into the numbers, the story gets twisted fast. See, everyone talks about how EVs are the future, but the reality? In 2025, hybrids are flying off the lots, while EV sales are hitting speed bumps, literally and figuratively. Take Toyota, for example. They've been laughed at for years for sticking to hybrids, but now they're laughing all the way to the bank. Their hybrid lineup is selling out, and their profits are through the roof. Meanwhile, Tesla, the golden child of Silicon Valley, is quietly slashing prices, cutting back on supercharger expansion, and watching their market share slip. Model 3 sales in California, the heart of the EV movement, dropped a jaw-dropping 59% in just 1 year.
That's not just a blip. That's a warning sign flashing bright red on the dashboard. And here's where it gets really disturbing. The infrastructure we've been promised, the charging stations on every corner, the seamless road trips, the clean, green future, it's not materializing the way they said it would. Tesla's supercharger network. Sure, it's still the best out there, but even that's slowing down. And as more automakers jump on the EV bandwagon, they're all fighting for the same limited charging real estate. You ever tried finding a charger in the middle of nowhere? It's like playing Russian roulette with your road trip. And the worst part? The companies know it. They're banking on you not noticing until you're already locked into a 5-year loan on a car you can't charge. Now, this is where it gets really sinister. Because while we're all distracted by the shiny new tech, the real money is flowing into hybrids. Why? Because they're cheaper to make, easier to sell, and don't require a massive overhaul of the grid. Think about it. Hybrids use the same gas stations we've had for a century. No need to rip up streets, no need to build new infrastructure, no need to wait for the future to arrive. And the automakers? They love it. They get to slap a green badge on the same old cars, charge a premium, and call it progress. But is it really progress, or just another corporate deception? Speaking of deception, let's talk about the environmental angle. You've heard the pitch. EVs are zero emission, the saviors of the planet. But dig a little deeper and the story gets murky. Sure, there's no tailpipe, but what about the batteries, the mining, the shipping, the disposal? And don't even get me started on the electricity. In most of America, your clean car is running on coal and natural gas. Meanwhile, hybrids, they still burn gas, but they're squeezing every last mile out of every drop. It's not perfect, but it's a hell of a lot more honest than pretending your EV is powered by rainbows and good intentions. Comment below, what do you think about this dark revelation? Are hybrids the real winners, or is the whole thing just another shell game? I want to hear your take because honestly, the more I dig, the more questions I have. But here's what most people don't realize about this. The push for full electrification isn't just about saving the planet, it's about control. Think about it. If every car on the road needs to be plugged in, who controls the plugs? Who sets the prices? Who decides where you can go and when? We've already seen rolling blackouts, grid failures, and energy rationing. Now imagine adding millions of EVs to the mix. The companies and politicians pushing this agenda, they're not just selling cars. They're selling a future where your freedom to move depends on their permission. That just doesn't sit right with me at all. And yet the narrative keeps rolling. Every commercial, every news story, every influencer on TikTok, pushing the same message. Go electric or get left behind. But the facts don't lie. Hybrids are winning. They're practical, they're profitable, and they don't require you to change your entire life just to get to work. But the industry doesn't want you to know that. They want you dazzled by the tech, distracted by the hype, and desperate to be part of the revolution. Let me tell you about the real reason hybrids are crushing it right now. It's not just about cost or convenience or even the environment. It's about trust. People don't trust the promises anymore. They've seen the recalls, the fires, the broken chargers, the skyrocketing insurance rates. They've watched friends get stranded on road trips or get hit with bills for battery replacements that cost more than a used car. Hybrids? They're the devil you know. Familiar, reliable, and just green enough to ease your conscience without risking your paycheck. Share this with someone who needs to know the truth, because the more people I talk to, the more I realize we're all being played. The $50 billion war isn't about saving the world. It's about who gets to control the future of transportation and who gets left behind. Honestly, I think this is terrifying. The facts show that hybrids are dominating the market, but I suspect there's something even darker going on behind the scenes. Why are automakers so eager to push EVs when hybrids are clearly what people want? Why are governments handing out billions in subsidies for cars that most Americans can't afford while quietly letting hybrids do the heavy lifting? Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Who's really benefiting from all this chaos? Now, I know some people see it differently. They'll say, hey, EVs are the future. We just need to be patient. And I get that. I want a cleaner world too. But I can't shake the feeling that we're being sold a fantasy, while the real winners are laughing all the way to the bank.
It's like when you discover your mechanic has been lying to you for years. Suddenly, you start questioning everything. What else are they hiding? What's the next big secret waiting to blow up in our faces? That reminds me of something else they don't want you to know. Remember the 2008 auto bailout? Billions of taxpayer dollars, all to save the industry. But who really got saved? The workers or the executives? The same people who drove their companies into the ground walked away with golden parachutes, while the rest of us got stuck with the bill. Now, here we are again. Billions pouring into EVs, promises of a brighter tomorrow, and the same old faces pulling the strings. History doesn't repeat, but it sure does rhyme. But wait, it gets even more disturbing, because this isn't just about cars. It's about the way we live. The freedom to hit the open road, to go where you want, when you want. That's the American dream, right? But with every new regulation, every new mandate, every new incentive, that dream gets a little smaller. You ever notice how the cars are getting smarter, but you're getting less control? Over-the-air updates, remote shutdowns, subscription features. Your car isn't really yours anymore. It's a rolling data center, tracking your every move, ready to shut you out at the push of a button. And the more we buy into the hype, the more we give up without even realizing it. Is this really progress, or just another corporate deception? That's the question that keeps me up at night. Because the more I look, the more I see the same pattern. Promise the world, deliver a fraction, and pocket the difference. And we're the ones left holding the bag. Honestly, here's the dark truth. The electric car revolution isn't about you. It's not about the planet. It's about money, power, and control. And hybrids? They're just the latest pawn in a much bigger game. The industry will sell you whatever makes them the most profit, and they'll spin whatever story they need to keep you buying. Today it's hybrids. Tomorrow, it'll be something else. But the playbook never changes. A lot of folks don't talk about this dark side, but once you see it, you can't unsee it. Every time you see a commercial for a new EV, ask yourself, who stands to gain? Who's pulling the strings? And what aren't they telling us?
Do you trust the hybrid surge, or do you think there's something even darker lurking in the shadows? I want to hear from you, because the only way we get to the bottom of this is together. Subscribe for more dark automotive revelations. Like if you agree this is disturbing. Share this video to expose the truth, because the only thing more dangerous than a lie is the truth they don't want you to see. And remember, in the world of cars, nothing is ever as simple as it seems. The next time you slide behind the wheel, ask yourself, whose story are you really driving?